Let's begin to deal with something here. Let's look at some laws of Genesis, or laws in Genesis. In Matthew chapter 19 verse 3, they came to Jesus and asked Jesus a question. The Pharisees, they always ask stupid questions. They came to Jesus and asked Jesus a question. Let's read a little bit. The Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him is it a man to put away his wife for every cause? They were asking Jesus, can a man divorce his wife? Next verse 4. And he answered and said unto them, have you not read anaginosko? That is, you are reading, are you not paying attention? Have you not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? Next verse. And said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. Next verse. Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God had joined together, let no man put asunder. Now, so Jesus began to explain to them. Now look at what Jesus did to them. They said to Jesus, Moses said, put away your wife. Jesus, what do you say? Jesus said to them, Moses said, put away your wife. Now, even if you understand the law of Moses is very partial. A wife cannot put away her husband. It's only a husband that can put away his wife, even in the case of adultery. That's the law of Moses. Because a woman is the man's property. And under the law, he can do anything he wants to do with her. But the woman cannot do anything she wants to do with her husband. Otherwise, he will put her away by the law. By the law. Deuteronomy 24. He said, if a woman is caught in adultery, let the husband put her away. But he didn't say anything about the man caught in adultery. That is why when the woman who was caught in the very act of adultery, if it was the very act, it means she was on the bed with the man. But they left the man because the law has no position on the man and picked the woman. That's the law of Moses. Those of you that like the law, hear the law. Teaching good. Thank God for grace, because grace now covers the woman. No, the law has no provision for the, under the law, if a woman is having a period, she's not permitted to come close to her husband because she's unclean. But the man can come close to the wife anytime. But the woman has periods, she cannot approach the man. The man is master under the law. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I'm teaching good? Now, if you have questions, be writing them down. I'm not that kind of preacher that is afraid of questions. Write them down, because I'll create a few minutes to answer a few things so that you go home with clarity. So under the law, so they now say to Jesus, the law say put away your wife. You will not find the law say put away your husband. No. Okay? Then Jesus said, how did you arrive at Deuteronomy 24 without Genesis? What Jesus was saying is, it will be immoral for you to jump Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and arrive at Deuteronomy without considering what Genesis says, because Genesis lays the framework. Which means in reading the Bible, you must read the Bible in its sequential order. That's what Jesus was saying. That's why Jesus himself, in teaching, he begins at Moses and all. He doesn't begin at the prophets, then Moses. There's an order of arrangement, bibliology. There's a sequential arrangement of the Bible. If you jump that sequence, you can be confused. That's why you read the Bible from Genesis, then you travel through, so you have the clear understand, because Moses laid the building blocks for doctrine. Oh yes. That's why all doctrinal issues, you will see them mentioned by Moses in one form or the other. Heaven, earth, light, darkness, eat, die. Those are building blocks for doctrine. Those words from the mouth of Moses, they are building blocks for doctrine. If I have time, maybe by Saturday, when I've built this message to a level, I will open up a few things. Pray that I will have time. Amen. Pray that we'll have time. So there's an order. You don't just go. Jesus said to them, how did you arrive at Deuteronomy? Have you not read that Genesis comes before Deuteronomy? In Genesis, he says, what God has joined together, male and female created he them. The twain shall be one flesh. How did you arrive at divorce before understanding the plan? The plan is no divorce. But Moses now saw that, like as it is with all human institutions are subject to error. Moses, seeing how men operate, created room for divorce. Because at the end of the day, it's better to divorce than to kill your husband. It's better to divorce than to kill your wife. Because you didn't come to this earth to marry. Marriage is along the line. You were not born with a wife. Neither were you born with a husband. There is no reward for marriage in heaven. In fact, Brother Paul says, I wish all of you can be single like me. Paul said, if you are smart, you will be as single as I am. He said, because he that is single careth for the things of the Lord, that he may please God. He said, but he that is married careth for the things of a husband or wife, and he will have problem in the flesh. You come to church with your wife, two of you are smiling. By the time you're closing, your wife's face has changed. What happened? A sister was waving in your direction, and the wife thought it was you she was waving. I'm teaching good. Please, women, be coming down. Be coming down. I'm teaching good. She was not waving your husband. Is your husband the one that received wave offering? Holy hands are lifted to God. So as you are leaving service, her face has changed. Instead of you celebrating the revelation, the anointing that came to the service, things that are happening in your life, now you are using all the anointing to settle quarrel. Why is your face like that? Why won't my face be like that? Why won't my face be like that? Sure, you were looking at her very well. What did you see? What did you see? Tell me what you saw. What did you see that I don't have? What did you see? The husband said, I swear to God, that's honor. He said, if you swear again, God will punish you. I'm teaching good. Some of you are laughing. There are people here that are suffering right now. I'm serious. You look like this, say, who are you seeing there? You look like that, you say, you have seen another one. So the husband is sitting in service, he's like this. He said, turn to your neighbor. He's not turning. Say neighbor. He said, neighbor. Women be coming down. Teaching good. Moses Moses said, because of the hardness of their hearts, that's why he gave them permission to divorce. So that means if you're married to somebody who has a hard heart, that marriage may not make it. It may not make it. Because living with somebody that has a hardened heart can result in murder, it can result in destruction, it can result in violence. Somebody that nobody can tell, calm down, stop, madam, keep quiet. Nobody can talk to her. A woman that is like that is in witchcraft. Is in witchcraft. And there are men that nobody can tell, shut up. No, nobody can talk to me. Witchcraft. Every human being must have somebody, if he tells you stop, even if you are cheated, you stop. There must be somebody in your life that can talk to you. If you don't have any such person in your life, you are a disaster going somewhere to happen. You know, when you were born in a house, you were born in a house so you can understand that there are people that are bigger than you. That's why you were born inside a house. And you must never grow to where nobody can talk to you. No. You must have somebody you fear on earth. Somebody say, I fear God. No, don't fear God. Fear man first. Fear of man is fear of God. Because how can you say you love God whom you do not see, and you hate man whom you see? To love God is to love man. I'm teaching? Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to put away your wives. Sometimes a husband and a wife are going through crises and we just talk about it casually. If you know the pain they are going through, it's not something to talk about casually. Any marriage that has crisis is a call for concern. It's not a call for taking sides. It's a call for concern. It's a call for prayer and counsel, because that little misunderstanding can wreck everything. It's a call for concern. But it becomes much more complicated if the parties involved don't hear anybody. Yeah. It becomes much more complicated. Because we're dealing with why things happen the way they happen. You know what I'm talking about now. You will know because you were there. This woman wouldn't listen to anybody. She would beat her husband. She would beat her. I'm not joking. It's not in northern Nigeria. It's in Port Harcourt here. This thing I'm talking about is in Port Harcourt here. She will beat her husband. The man will preach wonderfully. After service, she will land him ministration. I'm not joking. The husband brought her to me because both of them were submitting to me. I would talk to the husband. What did he do? Nothing really that you can lay your hand upon. You can't really lay your hand on something. It will be story that has no definition. Why are you doing like this? He said, my husband is eyeing a lady. Which lady? She can't put her hand on the lady. We'll pray for them. Mama and I, we will talk. I'm always bringing mama so that the woman will not think I'm being biased. So let a woman talk to woman, let man talk to man. Let us look at it from man and woman perspective. We will talk and talk and talk from morning till evening. At a point I started begging the wife, calm down, madam, calm down. In marriage there is a calming down. There's no marriage that is trouble free. Every marriage has its own problems. The reason why people survive marital problem is because of patience and tolerance. If you hear that a marriage has lasted 40-50 years, it is 50-40 years of patience and tolerance, endurance. June I'll be 30 years married. June here, so I know what I'm talking about. When you say marriage that is lasting, it's because the partners have decided to be patient with one another and tolerate and overlook certain things. There are things you don't tear your trouser over, you overlook. overlook. You excuse it away. The woman will not listen. She kept beating the husband, kept fighting the husband. One day she took pot of soup from fire and poured on the man. The man fell on staircase. From that day, he said, I will not sleep in that house. He started sleeping in his car. Because if he goes to hotel, they will say he went to sleep with a woman. If he goes anywhere, the wife will accuse. So he decided to sleep in his car, where you can find him by the house. One day the husband came to Yenagua here. I was preaching. He came here and said, Baba, it's enough and over. If I'll go to hell, let me go to hell. I love to be in hell than to be with this woman in heaven. I'm not joking. In your office, right? That was the end of that marriage. After the man has closed the marriage, then the woman's head calmed down. The woman started following me all over Nigeria. I said, don't be following me so they will not think I have collected you from your husband. Stop following me. Well, now to the light story. Let me go back to teaching. Let them not think I collected you. She will cry. She will kneel down. Baba, beg him. I'm sorry. I've seen my wrong. You were even there. She came to her. Baba, I'm sorry. My husband. Oh, Baba, I don't want to lose him. Oh. I said, yes, I did it. Because when I was talking to you as a father, you say my mouth was smelling. Now let you be smelling. Till today they are not back together. The man told me that for me to go back to this woman, I better go to hell. Bible says it's better to stay in the bush than to live in the house with an angry woman. Or an angry man. It's not just women. One in our church beat his wife until she lost her sight. Then he became the leader of the blind. I'm serious. He was the one carrying the stick, carrying the wife everywhere. I said, very good ministry. Since you remove the eye, you have become the eye. Oh yeah. Ungwano, bath am, feed am, cook for am, go market, take care. Madam, relax. Make sure your salary comes every month. Idiotis. Never mind. It's language I spoke. The hardness of your heart. You see, that's why Moses allowed you to divorce, because at the end of the day, marriage is not life or death. You know, and I think people that use these clauses in getting people married should change it. Since you're all men of God, till death do us part. Because you will now come and use death to separate yourselves. You don't understand? Yes, now let's not be using death. We'll be married till we see Jesus. That's better. We need to visit a few things. Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, suffered you to put away your wives. And as a child of God, you're not supposed to have a hard heart. He said, I will take away from you the stony heart and give you what? A heart of flesh. You know I'm your father, right? So I can talk to you. Why do people divorce? Hardness of hearts. Does God accept it? Yes. God accepts it. Because at the end of the day, you will not go to heaven married. So at one point or the other, there will be separation, whether alive or dead. So Dr. Damina, are you teaching divorce? No, I'm teaching Bible. I'm teaching Bible. Moses, put it up for me, and then I'll push it a bit further. Are you getting blessed tonight? Wherefore they are no more twain but one flesh. What therefore God had joined together, let no man put asunder. Verse 7. They say unto him, why did Moses then, if this is what God said, why did Moses contradict God? That's the question. Why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her? Because Moses' law is always the wife that is to be put away. The wife cannot put the man away. To put her away. Look at the answer Jesus gave. He saith unto them, Moses, because, somebody say because. That's the reason. Because of the hardness of your heart suffered you to put away your wives. But from Genesis it was not so. So there's a doctrinal issue. Jesus has laid the framework here. That Moses allowed for divorce because of the hardness of people's hearts. It's not a contradiction. Moses is not contradicting God. It remains God's standard for two people to remain married. But if there be a hardened heart where lives are threatened, then divorce is allowed. However, under serious pastoral counseling. Because sometimes in the process of counseling, we have taken care of issues that will have brought divorce. And there are marriages that are together today because they went through counsel and both parties were willing to listen. I'm teaching? Now, why is Jesus dealing with this issue in Matthew chapter 19? Please pay attention. When did God set up that institution? Genesis 2:24. Put up 2:24 Genesis for me. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. Now, when he said that, he was not talking about a particular marriage. He was talking about marriage. He was not saying let nobody scatter them. He means what is called marriage is God joining a man and a woman together. Look at verse 7. The intelligent way Jesus now communicated in that Matthew 19. They answered him, why did Moses give them room to divorce? Now remember, the questions they asked was from Moses, because Moses lays the doctrinal building blocks. And Jesus said, go and read. What God created was marriage, and that marriage is a man and a woman becoming one flesh. It cannot be two flesh. It will be one flesh. Then they said, but Moses said you can put away. Then Jesus said, it's because of the hardness of your heart. That means we have the beginning, or we have the mind of God revealed in Genesis on issues of life. The mind of God revealed in Genesis on the issues of life and the pattern of God. All right, now in the book of John chapter 1 verse 1, he says in the beginning. Now whenever you see in the beginning, it's talking about in Genesis. In Genesis was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Well, in the beginning. So there's a key principle or a key study we should do in Genesis chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3, which lays the framework for all of God's will and plan for man. Ladies and gentlemen, there are two perfect chapters in the Bible, Genesis 1 and 2. Genesis 3 is the fall of man, and from Genesis 3 to Revelation 22, it is God's effort to bring man back to Genesis 1 and 2. Did you just see what I just did? So God's perfect plan is Genesis 1 and 2. Genesis 3 is the fall of man. From Genesis 3 to Revelation 22, it is God's effort to bring man back to Genesis 1 and 2, which is his original blueprint for mankind. Now stay with me, because we want to do a little bit of study in Genesis chapter 1, chapter 2 and chapter 3, and I'm trying to see if we can cover those three books today and tomorrow, or next tomorrow. Now Jesus answered a key question. That question is, why can't a man divorce his wife? Jesus said, look, it is one flesh. What God has joined together, let no man put asunder. Then they asked Jesus a perplexing question. They said, but in the same book Moses said that you can put away your wife. Then Jesus quoted two key chapters, Genesis 1 and 2, and he said, in the beginning it was not so. So we have two things in our hands. Number one, we have God's plan in the beginning. If you're making notes, that's not a place to miss. We have God's plan in the beginning. Number two, we have things that happen not based on God's plan in the beginning. Number one, we have God's plan in the beginning. Number two, we have things that happen not based on the change of God's nature or a change in who God was, but based on a change in man. Number one, we have the beginning. Then number two, we have things that have happened not based on a change in God's nature, not based on a change in who God was, but based on a change in man.